Hey, Ideal Protein Nation! It has been a while. I am so sorry that I haven't been around. I've had some stuff going on, some of it good, some of it not so good. Dad's in the hospital fighting off some metabolic diseases that we're really just finding out the extent of right now. So, Dad, I just wanted to say, hey, I hope you get to see this while you're recovering at this stage of the game, and we're going to get through this. I'm a little rusty, as you can see already, too. So give me a break with this. This was put together in about a 48-hour period of time, but you are going to be super excited about this show coming to you. Well, I'm not even going to tell you yet. For those of you who may or may not know about the Life Possible podcast, I created the Life Possible podcast back in May of 2020. And the Life Possible podcast spotlights successful clients, coaches, and clinic owners who have used the Ideal Protein protocol to reset their body, reset their mind, and reset what's actually possible for their life. These individuals truly have had life-changing experiences, and now as a result are pursuing goals and dreams that they thought were dead and gone. They're pursuing goals and dreams they never thought they could. And in some cases, they're pursuing goals and dreams they never even knew they wanted to. In short, they're living what we like to call life possible. Who am I and why am I even doing this? Well, I tell you what, there's no easy way to say this. About 7 years ago, I was fat, sick, and depressed. I had let anxiety, depression, the pressures of my chiropractic practice get to me. And I turned to food and drink just like most of us do. Then somebody brought me the Ideal Protein Protocol, and I truly believe that it's the answer to all of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Initially I lost 45 pounds. I'm down over 60 pounds from that original weight. And last September, I accomplished one of my life possible goals since my 20s. I did my first half Ironman triathlon, and I did that as a keto low carb athlete. So, it has absolutely changed my life and absolutely changed my personal possible. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. Who do I have for you today? You are not going to believe this. I actually have Ed Reardon back for a third time. Back by popular demand. I've had requests. I had a request just over the weekend for him. And I got to tell you, I've got like 5 or 6 shows in the hopper. I've got a line. And the one that I was currently working on, we had to table it for a few days. And I'm so psyched that I can slip Ed in here. I got to spend some time with him personally a couple weekends ago. We got to actually meet in person. And Ed Reardon has been the clinic owner of Results 22 in the Chicago area, an Ideal Protein clinic, for over 12 years. He considers himself a motivational coach, and he teaches people how to undiet. For me and for Ideal Protein Nation, he is an Ideal Protein icon, and he's a mentor that has already taught me so much. It's elevated our practice tremendously, and I every opportunity I can get, I want to learn as much as I can from Ed. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring Ed in on. Hey, how you doing, man?
Johnny boy, great to see you, man.
It's great to see you too. And it was super great to hang out a couple weekends ago, wasn't it?
It was a fun weekend. We learned a lot of great people there.
Yeah, we had an absolute blast. So I just asked you, I said, hey, could you do an episode real quick? And you said, well, absolutely no problem, right? You pretty much have them at your fingertips and in your head. So you threw together for me an outline. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to title this one, Why Diets Don't Work and What We Can Do About It.
I love that.
Can you speak to that for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the biggest problems that we have. You and I both love Ideal Protein. We both have Ideal Protein clinics. We've got clients coming in, they're losing all kinds of weight. We lost 19,000 pounds the last 3 years in a row. So the weight loss part is easy whenever, but if clients put the weight back on, and only 3 to 5% of people in the world that diet ever keep the weight off for more than 2 years, you'll go, what's happening? The diet didn't work. Oh no, the diet worked great. You lost 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever. Do not blame the diet. You're asking a diet to lose weight. Stop asking the diet to change the way you think, to play with your limiting beliefs and emotions, to understanding what's driving the eating behavior to begin with. So Ideal Protein, I think, does as good a job or better than any other diet in the country. But in the end, All diets in the world go after a symptom of weight and weight loss. They're not going after the limiting beliefs and emotions that are driving the eating behavior to begin with.
Absolutely. I think that was really mind blowing for me when you sent me over the outline and I was reading through it. I always like to say we're treating the problem and not the symptoms. And that's kind of our approach, except it blew me away when you actually, what is the actual problem that we're missing?
I mean, the problem we're missing is that the majority of people, the vast majority of people, have an addiction not to food, but to how food makes them feel. Whether it's salty food, fatty foods, or mostly the vast, vast, vast majority is sugar. And the sugar secretes dopamine. And so, they're not aware. Awareness is the greatest agent of change. You just put up there for Eckhart Tolle. And they're lacking in awareness that, hey, guess what? I don't have an addiction to food. I'm going through stresses in my life, financial problems, emotional problems, kids, money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we use food to make us feel better. What we're doing is using food to access dopamine. And these little dopamine balls light up in the brain and make us feel better. And that's how we manage our emotions. The problem is we build up tolerance to dopamine. And so as we start to have half a scoop of ice cream to get 20 dopamine balls and make us feel better, then we need a scoop of ice cream to get 20 dopamine balls. Then we need a scoop and a half of ice cream to get 20 dopamine balls. Then we need 2 scoops of ice cream to get 20 dopamine balls. And that's where the addiction forms. And that's exactly what the road that we're going. And that's what we have to break. We have to break this addiction to using food to access dopamine to make myself feel better and get me through difficult times. When your kids get hurt in a baseball game and hurts his leg, nobody brings over broccoli. Everyone's bringing over trays of cookies. They're bringing over trays of sweets. What are they doing? They're bringing over these things. Go, here, John, this is for your kid. Well, you guys get high tonight. You guys have dopamine tonight. You'll make him feel better. No one's going to bring over anything healthy. Outside on your porch is tray after tray of things that give you access to dopamine. They're not aware that they're doing that, but that's exactly what they're doing.
Right. We've definitely been conditioned for that, right? Sugar addiction, I talk about it with my clients as well. It's something that you have to respect. And I don't think many people actually have respect for the strength of that addiction and the pervasiveness that it has in our life.
Well, the second one's the big one. They don't have the awareness of what it is doing in their life. The client just walked out my door 30 minutes ago, came back. I've already done the diet. She knows how to lose weight. She knows how to diet. We've been through this before. And she's going through a tough time right now with a personal situation and gained a bunch of weight back. And I said, well, we're 195 now. You'd like to get to 155. It's 40 pounds. You're carrying a 40-pound backpack around with you every day. How does it affect your life? And she said, well, I'd have more energy. Oh, yeah. No kidding. You're 40 pounds lighter. Of course you'd have more energy. How about energy, self-confidence, self-image, self-worth, overall happiness, the voice in your head? How about those? And she looks and goes, well, maybe those things. Maybe those things. And of course, those things. She's not even aware of how pervasive this thing is in her life. I've told you that story before of you're going through marital problems or something. We don't even blink. We go straight to a therapist and she or he talks to us and asks us these questions and work things out, et cetera. And you can go, nobody turns to weight loss when they're going through struggles with their marriage. Nobody turns to weight loss when they're sad or depressed or whatever, but they have just as powerful change my lifestyle, energy, self-confidence, self-image, self-worth. Get off of dopamine, get off of this drug addiction that I'm on, whatever. I'm in a really good place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to actually read your words because I don't want to miss this. It was so great the way that you had put it when you sent it to me. You said, people lose a job, go through a divorce or lose a family member, et cetera, and they instantly think of going to therapy, which I love, but nobody thinks if I change my lifestyle, it will affect my energy, my self-confidence, my self-image, my self-worth, and overall happiness. Why? Clients are not aware that they are fighting for the level of happiness in their life. They're not aware that 60 to 70% of the problems in their life are 100% in their control. That was brilliant. Can you expound upon that? I mean, that was mind-blowing to me.
It's another thing that people lack awareness of. What you eat, what you do. Is it harder if your wife's not a healthy eater? Yes. Is it more difficult if you had a childhood where you grew up in a family that wasn't? Yes. But in the end, is it still 100% on you? Yes. And if we had lifestyle going well. As you know, we've got kids and you've got kid issues going on and financial problems going on. My father-in-law is sick. Your father's sick right now, etc. But if my lifestyle's in a good place and my energy, self-confidence, self-image is rocking because my lifestyle good, my gut is sending me good signals. It's not treating me poorly, etc. That's 100% on me. I can control 100% of that. And if that piece of my life's really good, that makes every single thing else easier for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many people could cope better with the stresses of life if they're coming from that point, if they're coming from that frame of
But how
reference.
do we measure it? Wait. What are you down? I'm down 2 pounds. I'm down 3 pounds. How much did you lose? 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 20 pounds. You go, no, because what we focus on grows. And when you focus on something, whether it's negative thoughts, whether it's weight loss, etc., those things grow. And so what you got to do is you got to attack the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is psychology and mindset that's driving this eating behavior to be awareness. Yeah, that's a great quote. What we focus on outside is a reflection of how we feel inside. She did that today. Gal came in at 195. She's 35 or 40 pounds. She's added on because of these incredible stresses that she's having in her life. And on the outside, she's just reflecting of how she's feeling on the inside.
Yeah.
But right now, she's got a lot of stuff going on with family, etc. But the one thing she has 100% control of her lifestyle is the one thing that's more out of control than anything in her whole life. If she could fix that piece, we could take this set of problems and pull it off and just leave her deal with everyday life problems, which all of us are having a hard enough time dealing with to begin with. We don't need to add more of these things because our lifestyle's out of control and we're constantly using food to make us feel better, access dopamine to make us feel better in the short term. And that's what's driving this problem. And no diet in the world is going to fix that.
Absolutely. I also too, I don't want to miss this because you kind of talked about it before, but I want to hit it almost word for word. And I'm going to call it like, what is your why? Why do they walk into our office in the first place? What is it that drives the most amount of people through our doors? And, number one, I'm going to actually go backwards. I'm going to say it this way. How many people come in because they want to fit back in their clothes? 10 million. How many people come in because they've got a big event like a wedding or a reunion, which I have a couple of those clients are coming in now. And that's great. That's
millions,
fine, right? But millions of people, that's their impetus for their weight loss, right?
Yep.
But how many clients will come in this year to decrease their probability of COVID infection? How many clients will come in this year because they want to improve their marriage? How many clients will come in this year because they want to set a better example for their kids?
None.
How many high school and college kids dealing with low confidence levels or struggling with self-worth and self-love issues will turn to lifestyle for answers? And the depressing answer that you put on there was zero.
Nobody walks into my diet center in 12 years and said, I'm here to work on myself, put myself in a better, use lifestyle to increase energy, self-confidence, self-image, work on the voice in my head, which will improve my marriage, which it would. But nobody, zero in 12 years. Zero. I've got this amazing high school kid right now that I'm falling in love with. The kid's amazing. And he's struggling with some really significant weight gain the last couple of years. COVID really hit him. He's got anxiety, depression issues, and whatever. And it really hit him. Well, guess what? They said to him, what's going on and what's happening? And he goes, well, weight started to go higher. I've really started getting heavy. I'm up in the 300s right now. And, I'm really getting picked on at school. And you're like, okay, that's what the problem is. And these kids can be vicious to one another at school. But I said to him, those kids are saying things. You were calling you a fat guy or the big guy and whatever. Who's giving power to those words? And he said, I am. I go, you're correct. That's the problem that's driving the weight loss. I'll teach you how to lose weight. We're going to drop carbs and insulin. We're going to decrease hunger and cravings. We're going to put enough electrolytes and sodium in your body so you feel good. Losing the weight is going to be simple. I need to help you correct the problem. And to do that, I need you to say, guess what? Kids are still going to say mean and say dumb things. I've got to get to the point where you say, guess what? They're saying that because they're in a bad place with themselves. They want to feel better about themselves. It has no reflection on you. You've got to learn to stop giving these kids powers. Stop giving power to these kids' words. All right, can you work with that with me? And he goes, yes, fine. And in 3 weeks, we're down 19 pounds. And he looks and goes, is it still going on? Of course it is. He's only gone from like 315 to 198 or 298 or whatever it is. But we got to look and have him understand, be aware, this is what the problem is. Because when those kids say that, it makes him feel like crap. When he feels like crap, he wants to use carbs and sugar. Carbs and sugar makes him feel better in the short term. Carbs and sugar also drives hunger and cravings. Now he has more hunger and cravings, and he uses carbs and sugar to access dopamine. That's a really bad combo. It's a really, really bad combo. So my job was to get him to say, okay, reflect on this and say, guess what our problem is? You're giving power to other people's words, and we're not doing that anymore. He said, fine. And that's when that kid starts to heal.
Yeah. You've been sharing this kid's story with me now for the past couple of weeks. And yeah, I'm at the point where I want to meet him. And I really hope one day we'd have him on the show. The backside of that too, I would like for you to share the fact too, that this kid's an athlete and, that hit the spillover effect in his confidence, in his physical abilities. Now he might be down 19 pounds, but that's not reflected in his body composition. You actually have improved his body composition tremendously with the nutritional information you've given him already, far beyond what the scale actually says. Correct?
Yeah. But I mean, getting carbs and insulin down controls hunger and craving. So once we got that down, we're fine. He's got no side effects because he got his electrolytes right. Then from there, it's easy. Cutting calories just isn't that difficult. If you can get insulin under control that controls hunger and cravings, you can get calories under control. And then you get an incredible product like Ideal Protein that shows me high value protein for very few calories. It's just simple to do. That's the easy part.
Right.
But if he never becomes aware, because if he's given power to kids' words now, even if he loses all the weight, the kid loses 100 pounds in 7 months and feels infinitely, but he's still giving power to other people's words. He's still going on social media and letting other people tell him who he is and what he's capable of. Now, this is an offensive lineman. And I said, we're going to run into another problem. He goes, what's that? I go, what do you want to be? I go, I go, what's 220 look like? And he goes, I can do, right now he started at 315. He goes, I can do 220 all day. And we're going to do 220. He's going to walk into September in school at 220. But I said at 220, these coaches aren't going to want you to play offensive line anymore. And the question becomes, do you want to be you? Do you want to weigh 220 or do you want to keep the weight on so you can keep the weight up and be an offensive line? That's up to you, but don't do it because your coaches want you to stay up there at 255 and 260 and feel like crap and lose self-confidence and energy and have kids pick on you. You want to go to 220, go out and try to play linebacker. And if that's what you want to play,
exactly what I'm
play
thinking.
220 and play linebacker. But if he's letting kids' words make power, he's going to let those coaches determine what he does too. And he's going to do this, though, for the rest of his natural born life. I'm not worried about this kid in high school. I'm worried about this kid creating a pattern. And this is going to go on for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, no. And this is absolutely, like you said, you change your mindset, you change your possible. And he has it's going to spill over into career choice, college, family, all that stuff. Absolutely amazing what you're opening up for him.
We measure nothing but weight. How successful was it? What's your weight? How successful? How much did you lose? Show me an after picture. How much did you lose? What medication do you get off? All that's fine. I'm in on all that. But this is an issue of identity. And identity drives eating. Identity in conscious and subconscious brain. The subconscious brain is made up of 90% of what we think about or what we do every day is already pre-programmed. So you pre-programmed in your mind, since you were 5, since you were 8, experiences you went through. The woman who after 3 kids never took the weight off from each child and started getting heavier and heavier. And this false self or the subconscious brain goes, oh, I'll never get back there. That's an identity problem that they have. And so Ideal Protein helps them lose the weight. They lose all the weight and they start to feel better. But if that identity doesn't change, you're going to put the weight back on. So that's what we have to tackle. Those are issues we have to understand. And those are things that we have to work on. If we can work on some of those type of things, we can keep the weight off.
Absolutely. I've been coaching identity for a couple of years. For me, just like everything, identity can be used for bad and it can be used for good. For me, I had a personal experience that I was sharing with you before the show. When I opened the show, I literally look at that picture of me 7 years ago, and I had given up because I didn't understand what had happened to my physiology, right? Truly had no concept of what happened. And like I like to tell people, I gave up and I assumed the identity of the funny fat guy. For me, that was my identity. I fully embraced it and everything that went along with it. Underneath, again, I was as sad as can be. And when I look at that picture, I look in those eyes and I am wearing my pain on the outside, right? So flash forward to last year and doing that Ironman and the identity that I had created over the past 2.5 years as an athlete, as a triathlete. I remember when that finally hit me and said, oh my God, here you are, a 50-something keto, low carb triathlete. And I adopted that identity. And a lot of the patterns and behaviors that tried to creep back in my life, they were incongruent with who I was. And so it just wasn't even a thing. But you know what? After I reached that Ironman, I kind of told you I slid down the backside of that mountain, and I've kind of been back in the pit for a while. And I will credit you with reaching down and pulling me out and showing me what my identity is again. And I kind of feel like I'm back on track.
Well, I mean, that drives our behavior. And what happens is we do these diets 6 weeks, 8 weeks. We do challenges at our health clubs and at those type of things. And we do these challenges and weight loss things or whatever. And we temporarily suspend our limiting beliefs and emotions and our identity. So we follow this program from point A to point B, and we never address those. We lose all the weight. We still have the old identity. We still have the old limiting beliefs. We still have the old emotions. And people go, we need new habits. I'm all for new habits. Habits are never, ever, ever going to work if they don't align with your identity and your subconscious brains and your beliefs to begin with. So at that point, everyone's always habits. I'm into habits as much as anybody else is. But if you can't back it up with an identity and or beliefs that support those habits and whatever, you can't just write down a list of habits you'd like to do on a piece of paper and the next morning you start doing them every single day. That's not going to happen. I told you about that client. She's 66 years old, right? She loses 55 pounds. She hasn't seen this weight since 8th grade.
Wow.
She's 66 years old and hasn't seen the weight since 8th grade. To bury through that identity, though, hasn't had a drink in 7 months, and looks and goes, Eddie, I've never, ever, ever felt this good in my, no, she goes, ever. I go, okay. No, she goes, no, ever. No.
At this age.
Oh, okay. And I go, how does it feel? She goes, this is who I am. And I was like, that's a great answer. That answer, when she said, this is who I am, told me the light bulb went on and she started seeing identity. And then we ran into the problem. And I said, okay, that's awesome. And she goes, well, one issue. I go, what's the issue? She goes, my husband wants to know when I'm going to be fun again. And I go, oh, shit. So my husband wants to know when I'm going to be fun again was code for I gave up drinking for 7 months, and my husband drinks way too much, and he misses his drinking buddy. He feels terrible about himself because he's not drinking by himself. He's drinking by himself now, which makes him feel terrible. And if I could drink with him every night, he wouldn't feel so bad about what he's drinking and his drinking every night. So he says to me, when are you going to be funny? Knowing that that's going to make me feel bad and hurt her. And she goes, so what do I do? I go, well, now you've got a choice. Now you've got a choice to leave your identity, which is who you really are, and say, you know what? I haven't had a drink in 7 months, and I could go certainly without it and put it back in my life a little bit, but it's not my mainstay. I've never been so happy down to this weight. Or you can be a people pleaser, and you go back and you start drinking 2 or 3 glasses or splitting a bottle of wine with your husband every single night, 7 days a week, and see if that works. And lo and behold, she did not want to get him mad. She was a people pleaser. She was somebody that wanted somebody else to be happy, didn't want to interrupt the problem, but that made it take her away from her identity, take away from who she is. And that creates conflict inside a human being. And that conflict then makes us turn to carbs, sugar, food, alcohol as an outlet, because we need some release for that lack of identity and who I am. And it was that consternation inside that was driving the eating behavior. And if you can't fix that, she's going to put the weight back on. And lo and behold, she starts to put the weight back on. And so that's where identity drives us. And this is someone, I mean, think about that, 66 years old. And your last time you were this way was 8th grade.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, it breaks my heart, though.
So did the diet work?
Absolutely.
Yes. She lost 50 some pounds. Of course the diet worked. But if you put the weight back on, don't blame the diet.
Yep.
Blame that I'm going back to being a people pleaser. I don't want to upset my husband. I want him to be happy. I don't care about who I am. I don't care about, no. That's what the problem is.
Absolutely. Ugh. You know what? And this brings up another thing that I just read in your notes as I was going through there. I would love for you to talk about rock bottom.
Well, we said at the very beginning, awareness is the greatest agent of change. And sometimes it's very, very difficult for us to have awareness of how this affect our lives, whether I'm a people pleaser, what I need to work on from an emotional standpoint, from a psychological standpoint. And so what we really need, what the most important part of any weight loss program in the world is coaching, because somebody else is viewing our life through a different lens and can help us see things, understand things, reframe things so that you look and you go, wow, you know what? You're right. The girl who walked out here today, 155 girl is in there. And yeah, that's not who I am. I'm not 195 girl. I've been carrying around this 40-pound backpack. That's not who I am. You're right. 155 girl is in there. Thanks for letting me think about that again and whatever, because in the last 10 or 12 years, I forgot about it. Rock bottom, like they use in alcohol or anything else, is when we want people to hit rock bottom, because out of rock bottom, people go, I'm ready. I'm ready for change.
Right.
I'm open for change. I can't live like this anymore. This is insanity. I never want to go through life like this anymore. I don't want to do this. And they go, perfect. Why? Because from there they go, I'm available. I'm open for change. Not I'm here to lose 8 pounds or 10 pounds. Not I'm ready to give up drinking. I'm ready to give up drinking and work on myself and my mindset that was driving the drinking behavior to begin with. Oh, I'm ready to really lose the weight and find that person that's inside of me that's a better reflection of who I am, and that's my real identity. And you go, okay. That's why rock bottom can be such a powerful tool, because it's an agent for change.
Yeah.
The problem with it is when people put on weight, we do not see weight and lifestyle like we see alcoholism or drug addicts or anything else, even though they cause just as much pain and are inflicting just as much damage on the family and on marriages and everything else. But, you know, you give up drinking or you and me go to AA, our family would be so supportive. Nobody would have a drink in the house. Your wife wouldn't be order a drink when you guys go out to dinner. She's like, I'm just trying to be supportive of my husband. But you do a diet and then you can split one dessert with me.
Yeah, right.
John, you can split one dessert with me. That's not going to be the end of the world, John. What, you can't have a dessert now ever again? And so, we take it completely different because we don't have a respect for lifestyle and the effects that it's having on every single aspect of our life. It's a lack of awareness.
Yeah, and that drives me crazy. I've got a very specific client in mind who comes in, and her husband says that stuff all the time, and it's just absolutely his lack of awareness. And you know what? And support. It's unbelievable to me. And
without it, you're in a lot of trouble.
And I've got another great client who is 2 years sober now, 80 pounds down from where he was 3 years ago. This guy is an absolute rock star. And we've got him, his quote is, you know what? It used to be possible that I might be able to get my pants buttoned. Now it's possible this year I'm going to run my first marathon. And, I have him coaching me because he says, Doc, as much as you want to, as much as you try, you can't save someone from their bottom. Sometimes they got to hit there first before they're actually going to be able to do what they need to do. And it crushes me to see that happen to friends, family, patients.
Yeah, because why? You don't care what they look like. You don't want them to get thinner and look better and whatever. You're looking going, guess what? I know deep down in my soul that there's a better place. There's a place down there where you have a better level of energy and self-confidence. Maybe you feel better about yourself. You take this 40 or 50 pound backpack off. You're better with your kids. You have better energy. You feel better about yourself. I mean, it affects every single area. If they were more aware of things like that and knew what we were fighting for. It's one of the reasons why you hear people say all the time, you've got to know your why. And I'm a huge believer in why. The problem with it is that most people aren't aware of the effect that this is having on their life. Most people aren't aware. She wasn't aware that she's a people pleaser and would do anything for her husband. She'd throw out her own identity, throw out what makes her happy and do whatever just to make him happy. So she can never come up with a why. Her why's gone because she can't fix the people pleasing that she's got. And she's way more worried about somebody else than putting herself first. So she can have any why she wants in the world. And it's probably not going to work because of those other attributes. So I love why is next person. And it can be a driver, but it's got to align with your current set of beliefs and identity. And that's really what a lot of people just can't get to beliefs and identity when they temporarily suspend those things for a short-term weight loss program. And that's why in the end, so few of these things, weight loss things, work for 3, 4, 5, 6 years in a row. And the first sign of stress or anxiety at home or at work, the next thing you know, they're running back and grabbing something sweet and baking and sugar and whatever to make themselves feel better to deal with. Do you know what's going on at work? Do you have any idea how stressful my work is right now?
Yeah.
No. But the alcoholic doesn't get to run back and start drinking again because work got busy again. But we run right back to carbs and sugar because it's just so prevalent. It's in everything. It's everywhere.
It
And
is.
still can't get over that Starbucks iced coffee. The reason it sells so well is Starbucks tall coffee has 1 pump of sugar. Grande has 2 pumps of sugar. They put pumps of sugar in their iced coffee, and they don't tell you. You have to ask them, don't put sugar in my iced coffee. They go, okay, all right. I've got to ask you not to put sugar in there? They're like, well, yeah, it sells better. I'm not an idiot. And that's why people, I love the iced coffee. Yeah, no kidding.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I literally just saw a meme by somebody today that talked about, I will never turn down an iced coffee. And now I get it.
We have a client that I couldn't figure out for a couple of weeks. I could not figure out. I kept saying to her, I go, I'm looking at her scale in the inbound, and I'm looking, you are not in ketosis. You're doing too many carbs. And she goes, I'm not exact. Don't ever, you say that again, I'm going to punch you in the nose.
Right.
I'm just telling you, you're not in keto. And she goes, I'm following the diet perfectly. At our local grocery store called the Jewel, she's doing roasted chickens. Jewel here injects the chickens with sugar.
Yeah.
Costco doesn't, but they were injecting, and she was in a busy mom that was going to get the pre-made cooked roasted chicken 2 or 3 days a week. And she was pumping sugar in her body unbeknownst by eating chicken that she was getting roasted, thinking, gosh, I'm what a health nut I am. I'm buying these roasted chickens or whatever at the store a couple, 3 days a week. You can pull them apart real easy and make a quick meal. And that's what she was doing with salad. And she couldn't get in ketosis because she kept taking in so much sugar from the chicken.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
It is absolutely crazy, but they definitely know how quick and easy is it for you to get them hooked on their product. Her chicken, that grocery store, their chicken's probably known as being the best roasted chicken you can get. And everybody flocks to go pick it up, and they have no idea why.
All the hell out of it. That's right. I think, like I said before, the point I want to make again is that's why you can call around for any weight loss program, and you can call them and see what it costs and see what it does. You know what I'm going to ask you to do? Find the best coach you can get your hands on. And I don't care what they charge you, because only really through great coaching can someone go in there and start tampering around with your psychology and your mindset, taking that screwdriver out, asking you questions, I just ask a high school boy one question: who's giving power to those words that those boys are saying? Yeah. I am. And once he said that, he's fine. Once he gets it, you're okay. Yeah. That's what a great coach does, is pull these people out and go, what do you think about this? Is 155 person inside? Describe this person to me and get them to understand and visualize this, whatever. That's what a great coach should do, because they can help you see your life in a different lens. You've been looking down this kaleidoscope of your life, and you've got all these different things. You have a very, very biased view of what's going on in your life and whatever. And it's very difficult then to turn around and self-coach yourself and change identity and beliefs, which is why 95% of diets in the world don't work in the long term. The only 5% that work are people that lost enough weight, the light bulb went on, and they basically self-coach themselves, and they go, oh my God. And the light bulb goes on, and they look and go, this is crazy. Well, why am I doing this? Why would I go back to that?
Yeah.
Their sugar's never going to be that good. Food's not that, and they got it. But very rarely can self-coach themselves. Like we said the other day, imagine how many marriages would be saved. We go, you know what? Save the money for therapy. Why don't you two go in the other room and try to work this out yourself? Really? Really? This is the game plan? And divorce would skyrocket. The two people that are struggling to communicate and whatever are going to go back and figure this out themselves. But that's essentially what we're asking people with dieting to do. Figure it out yourself, come to a conclusion, do these boxes or do this protein or this fasting or whatever it is, and see if that works. And you're like, oh, crap, that's not going to work. That's why coaching is absolutely paramount. And you have to find, it's not an easy thing to do, but you have to find an absolute badass coach, and he can change the way you think, the way you view your life, the way you understand things. And that shift in psychology, that shift in mindset, those are the people that keep the weight off for the rest of their natural born life.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's a situation of not just resetting your body, but resetting your mind. And if you do both of those things, that's when you're actually going to be able to reset possible, right?
That's That's the key. How many clients have you had where the wife is down 25 or 30 or 35 pounds and she says, well, my husband's down, 19, 20 pounds. You go, that's fine. I haven't met your husband. He must be, other coaches must be coaching.
I know,
She goes,
right?
my husband doesn't come here. And I go, what? And she's like, well, yeah, I'm eating better. And he decided he wanted to be supportive. He's like, well, I'll do it with you. If you're going to do that way, I'll eat that way. So, if you're making that for dinner, I'll make that for dinner, whatever. All of a sudden, her husband not even doing a program's down 19 or 20 pounds and he's feeling better or whatever. But that's when the two of them look and go, you know what? Our life is better when we're both living this way. I'm a better support for you, honey, when I'm being supportive and eating like this and doing this, which is making your life easier. Does it mean I have? No, but it's a lot easier.
Yeah, that spillover effect is amazing. It really, really is.
It's incredible. And it's why support is so absolutely key. But again, if someone's going to do that diet and they go back to their house and their husband or their wife or their partner is not a great eater or lifestyle person and whatever, you're just going to have to say, look, this is who I am. I have to have my authenticity. I've got to fight my way through this. I've got to change my identity. This is who I want to be. Yes, it's harder because your environment isn't supporting you at this point, but everybody that gives up drinking doesn't ask all their friends and their spouses and their partners around them to stop. That's not how it works.
Right.
So it's a harder game, but that's real effort that people put in to working on themselves. I mean, that's the genius of AA. They're just giving you a list of things to work on yourself. They don't tell you which alcohol has higher proof or more alcohol in it. They go, here are a list of things that you need to work on to prove yourself as a person. And FYI, if depending on what your house is or who your partner is or who you're married to, those people might not be giving up alcohol. And guess what? That's not on them. That's on you.
Yeah.
And that's where diet comes in. And diet doesn't do that. And that's where great coaches come in or programs come in and helps these guys understand beliefs, emotions, and values that are driving the eating behavior to begin with. It's that subconscious mind that's screwing us up. And it's very difficult to self-coach that sometimes. Because we don't always see our flaws and understandings and things, whatever. And it's very hard for us to paint a picture of our life in a different realm, which is why, though, when you lose 30 or 40 or 50 pounds, some people do experience that feeling like you did of the weight coming off. I'm feeling way better, changing self-confidence and energy. It's all because of lifestyle. The light bulb sort of goes on. You're like, well, shit, this is a good idea. I think I like this, John Barnes. And you go, okay, what do you think? Who was your coach when you did the weight loss?
I had a coach who was a friend. I got to tell you, I wasn't the best client. However, all it took was week one. And after week one, like you said, I had it on the inside. Once I got through week one and I knew it was possible, I already was not going backwards. I was going forwards. And I truly, I was able to take that mantle and I was able to be self-motivated. I was able to push the train through to the end.
So you keep the weight up for a long period of time. You're giving the majority of credit. You with one of the 3 to 5% of people that sort of self-coach yourself and the light bulb went on, or is more of that to the coach? You go, my coach is a badass and see my life through a different lens and help me change the way I think about myself and who I am and how it affects my life.
Well, and that's why I say that, for me, you are most definitely one of my most valuable mentors, because that is now how I coach. And that is how I wanted to coach. And I stumbled upon a couple of your videos. I checked in with your regional vice president and he's like, oh my God, here's his contact information, get in touch with him. And, from there, I really, we kind of talked about this right before the show. First 5 minutes or so might be about the protein and, the protein, the carbs and the sodium and looking at your in-body and what have you. A lot of times I'll look at somebody's in-body. I won't even tell them anything about the results. I'll just ask them about their week, talk about the mindset, talk about the things we've been working on. How did that, family gathering go? Did you give in to the peer pressure? Or were you able to withstand who you are now? And, and then once they tell me, I can coach them from what I see in the data. Right. And I'll say, well, you know what? Congratulations. You did an absolutely amazing job. And I just want to show you what this shows me. And, I'm super, super proud of you.
And see, that's what you see on the outside is how you form this self-talk that you have, this voice in the back of your head, these opinions of yourself, your beliefs from what you can see, right? And so that client that came back in today going through a ton of really tough personal problems or whatever, weights up to 195. She couldn't see 155, girl. She couldn't see and picture herself with that. But you look and go, wow, she's 6 foot. I'm sorry. She's 5'8". She's tall. She's absolutely beautiful, even though she doesn't think it anymore because she's lost herself during this addiction to carbohydrates and food. And she has 68 pounds of muscle, which is spectacular. And all you got to say is
1% in the country.
Yes. All you have to do is take a little bit of subcutaneous fat off this body and you get this person back. Yes, you look adorable. Size will be smaller, all that nonsense. But there's this girl that's stuck inside, that's trapped inside, that's dying to get out. And she's the one that we have to go get. We have to go get 155, girl. We got to let her out. Once she sees that, she's like, my God, I have lost myself. The number of my moms that are so beautiful that walk in my diet center drive me crazy. And I know that they don't see themselves as this amazing, beautiful human being drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. You take this over and you build up this false identity, these false beliefs. You start carrying around an extra 35 or 40 pounds of weight. It changes that voice in my head, how I talk to myself, how I feel about myself, my level of shame and all these other things. And I start creating this false persona. And I forget that there's this person trapped inside of me, that if I could just light up lifestyle, get rid of the fat on my body and whatever, and eat better, clear up the gut so the gut is signaling, putting good signals up through the vagus nerve to my brain, changing emotions and how I feel and whatever, my life changes. They just can't see it because they're looking in the mirror going, wow, I'm older now. I've had 3 kids. I'm not as beautiful as I used to be. And you're like, my God, you're stunning. You're incredible. Come on, help me see, help you see this. And that's what we've got to do as a coach. That's our job, is to help them see something that they literally can't see.
You know what, Ed? And I got to tell you again, I'll reach back to my story and I will tell you that I had, most likely they've tried. They just don't think it's truly possible, right?
Correct.
And when they walk into an ideal protein clinic, you and I both know, well, now it's absolutely 100% not possible. It's probable. If you do this, we're going to get there, right?
The weight is.
But they will not believe that. And so they won't let themselves get there. Until they start to see some results. And for me, one of the things I like to tell people is, you know what, weight loss is the gateway to personal transformation. And so whereas, yes, this is a weight loss clinic and I am a weight loss coach, but just like you, I just use that to get in the gate and then the real stuff happens. Now we can talk personal transformation. Now you can see more what's possible inside of you. It's coming back out. Like you said, let's find that person that's been trapped inside there. I love this one thing. I've been staring at it all show and waiting to say it, that I have in huge letters off your outline. And it just says, what is the number one cause of weight gain in the world? And then somebody's going to say carbs, or somebody's going to say, oh, food, or the number one cause of weight gain in the world is clients feel that they are not enough.
That's the number one cause of weight gain in the world. I'm 100% positive of it.
Yep.
I don't care what study or anything else shows. I know what it is. I do this every day for a living. There's this feeling of I'm not enough.
Yep.
I'm not the perfect wife. I'm not the perfect husband. I don't have the perfect job. I'm not the perfect parent. I'm not enough, which makes me feel bad, or I'm not good enough about myself, which makes me want to turn to alcohol or food to access dopamine. And that dopamine makes me feel better, but my weight goes up. When my weight goes up, I'm definitely feeling like I'm not enough and there's something wrong with me. And I get on this loop and I can't get off. I I literally cannot get off. And that's why the only diets in the world, and as much as I love IP, the only diets to me in the world that really make sense is fasting and ketosis, because they go after insulin. Both say, guess what? Don't eat food or time restrict food and you cut down insulin. The other one says, we're going to do in keto, which means sub 40 carbs a day and go into keto. And you go, okay, why do you like it? Somebody go, because if I can drop that insulin, I can get hunger and cravings under control. Once I can get hunger and cravings under control, I can do calories and food all day long. This whole idea of eat anything you want and just buy smaller plates is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of. There's just so much nonsense out there. I don't think there's one, there's only one great diet. I still think, a diet is best that fits the client the best and whatever. So I don't think ideal protein is the best for every single client in the world. But I love those two diets of fasting and or keto. In the perfect world, I like combining them as well because they really attack insulin that gets my hunger and cravings under control, that gets me off this loop that I'm on, like I said.
Get you out of the addiction.
Yes. And this I'm not enough. I still can't change that in week 1, but if I can drop your hunger and cravings, I can deal with the I'm not enough later on and drop the hunger and cravings and get to the point where you're going, okay, now I've got hunger and cravings out. Now I've got to get electrolytes right and nail that so that you don't have any side effects. So there's no low energy fatigue, lightheaded, crabbiness, tossing and turning, constipation, insomnia. All that stuff's coming because your electrolytes suck, which don't get me going on that. We've done
We're not going there today, Ed.
We're not going there today. But
you got
in
a
the
whole
end,
show on that. If they
got to get that part 21. Right, because when you get that part right, then you don't suffer any consequences, or really downside consequences to the fasting or intermittent or ketosis. Right. At that point, you're in a great place to take on all these other issues because I've got hunger and cravings under control. That's why I think those two diets are so genius to me. Yeah. And again, all diets in the world work. If it's a better fit for somebody else, I'm all up for anybody, anything people want to do. But I just love the fact that people can get insulin under control because I think he's the devil.
Well, and like you said too, right? So this is at least a two-pronged attack with the addiction. And getting insulin under control gets it from the inside out. It gets it from the chemical side of things. We remove the sugar, which is really the thing that's driving all that stuff. But insulin propels that and propels your anxiety and depression so much worse. There are studies that show that insulin itself, and that's my personal story. I know that that's what got me into the overeating, but then it drove it out of control. I can bring it back with just one bad Christmas week. If I eat poorly and fall back into that pattern, I can wake up just as full of anxiety and depressed as I ever was. And that to me, there's an
that's
inside
part of clearing the gut, right? The second brain, that's part of clearing the gut. So getting the gut, losing the weight, but that's a whole nother show. But insulin resistance is that as fat starts to go higher, we start to produce more and more insulin for the exact same food. And so everybody doesn't produce the exact amount of insulin for the exact same food because some people, we start getting more and more insulin resistant. And as you start producing more and more insulin, insulin's driving hunger and cravings. Now I've got people that feel they're not enough and they're high in hunger and cravings. Well, I can't fix that you're not enough in week 1. I can go after hunger and cravings though. So send me after fasting or ketosis and let me take care of that. And then give me a screwdriver and a hammer and let me work on the psychology part of it over the next couple of months. And then we can fix that part. But that's why I love fasting or keto. That's why I think IP works so well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely the key. And people are missing that. That is, I had a line up there and you have this in our outline too. We seem to be rolling really pretty well down the summary. Working on authenticity, vulnerability, and fear.
Well, to me, we have 13 pillar blocks that I work on with clients to get them where those are some of the biggest. Awareness. Awareness is one because without awareness, we were pretty much lost. Without awareness that this is affecting my marriage. This is affecting how happy I am. This is affecting my kids. It's affecting every area of my life. I go, okay, awareness. Vulnerability, the ability to say, especially like I'll take my mom's just because we do, 85, 90% women, is walking to somebody in the house and saying to kids and husband, hey, guess what? I've really struggled with food and more directly an addiction to carbs and sugar for some 30 years now. I'm going to be doing this weight loss program coming up. I'm not asking you guys to do anything, but I really need some help and support. This has really been a tough time for me to struggle. Most of these husbands, myself included, whatever, don't know the struggle that their wife has gone through in their lifetime with weight and calories and carbs and whatever. It's not that they're insensitive idiots and whatever. It's that they don't understand the pain and the agony that people have been through, whatever. So vulnerability is saying, hey, guess what? This has been a big deal for me. And this is what it's affected me in my life. I could really use you guys' support. And I think the majority of people are like, wow, okay. Yeah. Even women with women, they go out on, all girls night on Wednesday night and whatever. And they know one of the girls is in a diet right now, whatever. And they start passing around the carrot cake, whatever. And someone's going to say, oh, come on, you can have some. You're going, that's not support. You're not helping. Why are you doing that? And a lot of times people are doing it because no different than other things is that people want other people. There's a lot of people, I hate to tell you, when you lose the weight, there's a lot of people, a lot of your really good friends, family members, relatives, whatever, are really hoping you put the weight back on because it makes them feel better about themselves. So that's something that goes on, all the time. And you've got to learn authenticity. It sounds crazy, but a skill of learning to say the word no.
Yes.
Sounds simple, learning to say the word, but it's a skill.
Yep.
And we've got this carbs and sugar and stuff everywhere. We do a lot of teachers, and they go back in that teacher's lounge. These teacher's lounges are insane. Every day it's just cookies and donuts and whatever. And she goes, what am I supposed to do back there? I go, again, control carbs and insulin. But again, I've got to learn how to be me. I can't tell all these other, could all you other teachers stop having cookies and donuts and things, whatever, right. Because I'm on a diet right now and you're making it very difficult on me. You're going to have to learn authenticity. You're going to have to learn, guess what? This is who I am now, whatever. You guys get to do whatever you want. And you go, okay. And so, authenticity, vulnerability, awareness, dealing with shame, those are the fundamental building blocks of change. And that's what we try to work on with the vast majority of clients, because without it, there really isn't anything.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You know what? And so then next we'll work down that outline, right?
Okay.
Never stop thinking about that person inside you that has more energy, better self-confidence, better self-image, and better self-worth. Exercise and clean eating are extremely difficult, but the rewards on the other side will blow you away. This is lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is we're going back to the same thing. All we talk about is how much weight did you lose? Did you lose weight this week? How much weight did you lose? Did you lose weight this week? And whatever. And when we just focus on that, we miss the point. A lot of our clients are doing a lot of really smart things during the week. They're just not even aware of it. They did go out on girls' night on Wednesday night and whatever, and they had one drink instead of two. Oh, and they said no to dessert when it came around, and they don't give themselves credit. Those are skills. Those are skills that you need to learn, that you pat yourself on the back for, going, that's a really, really good job. And those are skills that we need to develop. Authenticity is insane because so many of it is we're driven by what other people say, what other people want us to do, what other people are including us in. I'm getting the last round. Who wants one? Come on, I'm buying. Yeah, I'm buying. Come on, who wants? No, I just don't want to drink right now. Yeah. I get that you're buying, but you've got to learn to say the word no. But it's a skill. And it's a skill sometimes that we don't possess. And if we're not aware of it, it's hard to work on the skill because I don't know that I need the skill. And so that's the important part that you have to really understand. And that's where psychology and mindset come in. I hate to say it, but this thing is maybe 10 or 20% died and 80 to 90% psychology and mindset. You just happen to change. You never answered that question. Is it you that changed it, do you think? Did you self-coach and change this thing to keep it this way? Or was it the coach or a combo?
I'm going to say it was me.
I thought so too.
I am going to say that it is me, but that is absolutely not that's not the rule. That's the exception.
You're 3 to 5%. You're the what it's doing. You're the 3 to 5%.
Well, and what I'll tell you, Ed, is it was what it comes back to is, like I said, I had no idea how much insulin was driving the anxiety and the depression once it took a hold of me.
You lacked awareness.
Probably took me until day 5 or 6, but the first morning that I woke up and I just felt like my head was back, my first thought wasn't, oh my God, how am I going to lose everything today? Which is what my first thought had been almost every day for years. And when my head was back, like when I felt like I was never that guy. I was always a positive guy. I was driven. I was motivated. I had all that stuff going on. And
you had a different what?
And
I was never that guy. You had a different what?
Different mindset.
A different identity. Yeah.
Different identity.
You have that
Absolutely. Picture? And I lost it. I gave it away. I let it go. And I had given up. I never thought it was possible to get it back. But as soon as I saw that I could get it back, like I said, I ran for that thing, and I'm never going to give it up.
Yeah, but see, that to me, that's a microcosm of every single client, everything. It doesn't have to be 350 pounds. It can be 25 pounds. And it doesn't mean that, this energy, self-confidence, self-image, self-worth, people go, I clients all the time. I have self-confidence. I go, okay. That's not what I said. I said, is your self-confidence, self-image, self-worth better than it was before? It doesn't mean that at 330 pounds, I have no self-confidence and I get down to 165 pounds in a six-pack and my self-confidence is 10. That's not what we're saying. That's not it. I'd like you, I mean, put the picture of that guy originally up that started there, whatever that number is. Describe his identity to me. Describe the John Barnes identity to me when that was at the beginning.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Walk me through this guy.
I will tell you that he was not enough. Again, I can look at him and he is wearing his pain on his outside. He's super excited about that personal pecan pie that he got in his stocking for Christmas.
Yep.
And holding it up like a race medal, right?
Voice in his head. He gets out of the shower in the morning. What's his voice in his head say?
Oh my God, what's going to happen at work? Oh my God, this really sucks. I just I want out of this. I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to have for lunch? Boy, that's going to make me feel good, right? Let's just make it to lunch. You can roll down to Burger King. We got a new one that just came in and I'll get me a Happy Meal and that's going to make me happy, right?
And as that weight starts to go higher though, the identity is I'm the funny guy. Yep. I'm the big, I love that expression. Hey, how's the big guy? Where's the big guy? I go, Oh my God, you're letting people call you the big guy. Why? Because it's my identity. And that's why diets don't work. If you can't shed that identity, you lose the weight, but you're still the big guy. And that's what your brain is. And you just temporarily suspended that while you did some weight loss program and followed some rules. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And you came to it by yourself. But that's what I'm saying. That's not an easy thing to do. The majority of people need A, a program, or B, a really badass coach to help them get there and help them see certain things in a different way, to answer some tough questions. I mean, we've got quite a few clients in here that cry because you're hitting them with tough questions. And when they're crying, they're giving you real answers. They're being vulnerable and giving you we're talking about real things and you're answering real questions.
Yeah.
As a coach, you're not trying to get someone to cry, but you're looking going, I'm asking them questions and they're answering and they're being vulnerable. And that's what the result is. Well, those are some of the people that heal. Those are some of the people that we can keep the weight off with.
Yeah. Because
even when they're in that mode, you just said it. Something's going to snap. Something's going to happen. Something's going to trigger. My dad passed away all of a sudden. One of my kids dropped out of college. All of a sudden, someone did this. I have financial problems. I lost my job. And the next thing you know, my brain looks and goes, okay, I've kept the weight off for 2 years. Go back. Go back to what? You go back to that thing where we use food to access dopamine. We're going through a lot of shit. I just lost my job.
Yeah.
Shit. It's like alcoholism. You don't get rid of it.
Right.
It's just gone for now.
Right.
It's still inside of you. It can be triggered. It can be triggered. And you quietly started creeping off if you did the Iron Man thing or whatever, and you started setting the bar way too high. Now, all of a sudden, simple everyday workouts weren't that much anymore and whatever because you set the bar so high. And the next thing you know, you go 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row doing nothing. You're going, hey, Johnny boy, snap out of it.
Yep.
Snap out of it. You're losing your identity and whatever. You're like, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset and psychology and identity.
Yeah. No, it is 100%. No, like you said, asking the right questions, doing the right work, you got to have boxes of tissues in your office. And whether I'm the one crying,
how many clients walk in there on day one and say, I'm willing to work on shame. I'm willing to work on authenticity. Nope. I'm willing to work on I really work on the tough issues that are driving my eating behavior. I'm ready, John, help me. 0 out of 3 million?
Yeah, 0 out of 3 million.
However, and then if I put the weight on, I'm going to blame Weight Watchers, Ideal Protein, Optivast, whatever. The diet doesn't, my girlfriend and I, my husband and I both put the weight back on. The diet doesn't work. I go, you lost 83 pounds between you. Trust me when I tell you, the diet works just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that you being in that spot that says, I really, not to work on habits, I really want to work on identity, psychology, mindset, and whatever, and have that energy to do that, you will see life-changing results from that thing. But you said it. Either A, the client's got to reach rock bottom, or they just have to be awareness and say, you know what? It's time. I've got to change who I am and how I use my lifestyle. Because in the end, we have 100% control over a few things in our life, a handful of things in our life.
Yep.
And lifestyle is probably the single greatest thing we have 100% control over that has the greatest impact on every single area of my life.
Yes.
I mean, and we just don't see it that way.
So again, as I'm seeing it and really trying to help summarize all of this amazing information, number one, you have to establish what that identity is. And then number two, establish the habits that support that identity. And once you've got those two things locked in, once you've changed that mindset, when the stress, when life's things that come at you again, because inevitably they will, you are going to be able to handle that as a new person with the lifestyle you've created.
And number one, define the problem. Walking in saying, weight is not my, it's a symptom that I'd like to fix. I'd like to look better or go to some silly reunion. And that's the craziest concept in the world, isn't it? I want to lose 30 pounds. So all these people in high school that I haven't seen in 35 years think that I look and feel amazing. I don't care what my family thinks. I don't give a shit about my family or my energy or whatever, or my marriage. That's, whatever. But man, these people I haven't seen in 35 years, I've got to put on a good impression. You're like, what is this insanity? This is crazy shit. That's crazy. But it is. And it drives people to do it. And again, why do we know? For a wedding, losing weight for a wedding, losing weight for a big event, losing weight for a reunion, they're going to put the weight back on because you're temporarily suspending beliefs and identity until I get there. And once the reunion's over, the good news is, we might not get together for another 10 years. So you're like, might as well start putting the weight back on because identity never changed. Beliefs never changed. So the problem to begin with isn't weight. The symptom is weight. The problem is we're using food and or alcohol, most of the time a combination of the two, to access dopamine, to manage and control the stress, anxiety, and the I'm not enough in our life. And that's what we're using. That's what we have to break. That's the cycle that needs to be broken. And that takes work on oneself. Break that cycle and every diet in the world would work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll also tell you too, Ed, one of the reasons why this has just really sparked it for me and why I most likely the success that I had without a whole lot of strong coaching was the fact that I have also read 50 different self-help books. I read Tony Robbins back when I was freaking in 18 years old and you name them, I've read them. Right. And it was a situation of finally, I had all that stuff inside and now I could see, oh my gosh, I'm on the right path again. Let's stir all that stuff back up. And that's where all that stuff came from. Right.
And you read it and knew it. But that doesn't conquer the addiction, and that you were just literally reflecting on the outside, the stress and anxiety from owning your own business and running your own show and getting enough clients and getting social media and growing your kids up and managing your relationship with your wife, and all those things pile up. And you go, I gotta start using some food to make myself feel better to manage all this shit. And then as weight starts to go higher, the self-talk starts to go, John, you're not so big. You're a big guy. You're a fat guy. You're not in shape, John. And you go, well, that doesn't make me feel good. You go, no, it doesn't. Maybe I'll go in the kitchen and use some food. And you go, I'm not enough. And you go, oh, shit. And you get on that cycle. You can't get off.
Nope.
You can't get off.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for getting off that cycle, whatever. I mean, imagine how different your marriage is for the next 30 years because of that one stupid diet you did.
Yeah. Right.
Your life is different.
Absolutely. 100% different.
How awesome is that?
One of the things that I wanted to bring from the summary that you had written out as well, and I got to read this word for word and you can expound on it. The single greatest act of love a person can give is to put themselves first. Make lifestyle a priority in their life and thus increase your ability to reach the highest level of self-love, which then enables you to love others at a higher level. That's why we're here. We can finish the show on this and it'll take us 30 minutes, but let's go.
To me, it runs in the deepest part of my soul. And I've been here 12 years and I've never run into a mom that can do it.
I know it, right?
And it's because they're so selfless. They're so worried about planning trips and taking care of things and helping out at work and making sure everything's good in the house and making sure that everything's right and do whatever. They're so focused on anything and everything else that they just don't have any more time. Again, and we're back to identity. And if you can go,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Your workouts and your eating have to be more important than anything. I know. I went to Tommy's 47 baseball. God forbid I miss one of Tommy's 47 baseball games a year. I only made 44, and a lot of the other parents think I'm a bad parent, so I don't want to do that. And again, we're going there because all these other parents are going. You're going to go, you know what? I'm not going to Tommy's game today. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to do my yoga class. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to take time for myself because I deserve it. I'm in a good place, and I can't get to do it again. And we're back to identity.
Yeah.
And then I don't feel good about myself because I don't spend time on taking care of myself. It's the greatest act of love because when mom's in a great place or dad's in a great place, they're allowed to help other people.
Yes.
And we know that loving other people is only a function of the level that you love yourself. That guy, John, was a lovable, kind guy, but at that weight, he was suffering shame and he was not suffering self-love. He didn't feel good about himself, and that was going to affect his sex life. It was going to affect his marriage. It was going to affect his ability to love other people because he could only love himself at this level. He capped it on himself, unaware of it, of course. He's not purposely doing it.
Right.
This isn't a guy trying to hurt his wife and kids.
Right.
It's a guy that's caught up in real life and stressed like a crazy person with all the shit that's being thrown at us.
Yeah.
And he fixed the one thing he's got 100% control over. And FYI, he didn't fix every problem in his life.
No.
But imagine the crap you're going through now between dad and the stress and all the other crap you're going through. I got one. Add 150 pounds on your backpack and tell me how the week's going, Johnny boy. At least you got rid of all that. But if our clients could just get rid of that, their lives would be infinitely better. They've got all these real problems in their life, but they're taking all these extra problems that are 100% in their control, stacking on top of the problems they have in their real life, and it's turning into a shit show. And it ends up with crappy marriages and divorce and all this other crap because we can't put ourselves first because lifestyle is a disaster. And you get on this loop and it just keeps getting worse. And we start drinking more and eating more. And then COVID comes and we're wearing masks. And now this thing just multiplies exponentially. And you're going, guys, we got to get this back. This is insanity. We can't live like this.
Nope. You know, I always talk to my moms and I always say, look, you can't pour from an empty cup. And right now your cup is empty, right? We have to figure out ways to fill that so that you actually have more to give because right now you're running on empty, right? You know, when I try to put the exercise habit in, I will tell you, if you'd asked that guy, if you'd asked Big Boy 7 years ago, you know, would you wake up early in the morning to exercise before you go on to work? I would tell you you're high, you're crazy, or both. And there's no way in hell. I was never an exercise person in the morning, but every book I read, every person I listened to, and every successful lifestyle coach will tell you that's the best way to start your day. So I said, well, you know what? Let's give it a shot, right? And what I realized was when I shifted that to the beginning of the day, when I'm the first one up every single morning filling my cup, the whole rest of the day, I've got everything I can give for you. But if I was doing my workout at noon, right, I was going to do it at my lunchtime, right? I got to get an hour bike in. I've got to get a 5-mile run in. I've got to go to the
always
pool.
Something that's going to come up.
God forbid I got to go to the pool and get a half mile swim in. And you know what? That's exactly it. Whether it's a client, whether it's the business itself, whether it's my wife, can you run an errand, whether it's, you know, one of my kids, oh my God, Dad, I need this, blah, blah, blah. And what do you say? You say, oh, absolutely, no problem. I'll go ahead and do it. You know, I can skip that workout or what have you. And then what happens? I would resent that person. I would resent what I just did. I would feel bad about myself. And you know what? If I was accumulation needs release. If I was that other guy, when I get home, then I'd have, you know, twice as much dinner and maybe a drink on the side. Yep. But if you fill yourself up first, go ahead, give me a call at lunchtime. I'll do whatever I can for you. I've got that time. I've got a full cup and I'm ready to pour it out for my clients, for my family, for my kids, for my wife, all that kind of stuff. And they go together. The ability to put yourself first. Ron, do you think it's easier or harder to work out 60 pounds lighter? So our clients lose 50 or 55 pounds. You think their probability of working out is higher or lower? That's the spin you get on. When you get addicted to this dopamine, you get on this cycle and weight starts to go higher and the self-talk starts to go. As weight starts to go higher, everything goes with it. I start to work out a little bit less. I have a little bit less energy. I'm not sleeping quite as well. I'm drinking a little more. And everything starts to roll downhill. And I can't have that ability to put myself first. And when I don't do that, I'm in a ton of trouble. And that's why in the end, like you said at the beginning, diets don't work because they're only fixing a symptom. It's these other things
that you have to work on. And the ability to put yourself first is right at the top of the list. And in 12 years, I've never met a person that can do it.
Yeah. Well, they can if they get coached.
You're correct.
I bet you've got a lot of clients who can now.
And they know they're worth it. And my moms are so adorable. Man, if I had this, my moms are so good looking and so adorable. They could just see how incredible they are. That's my single job that just rips me up. And I'm going, you don't have any idea how amazing you are, do you? Like, nope. They really don't.
Yeah.
Because they've got caught up in this whirlwind and we're doing it. You got to go to 74 games. You got to manage everything. Remember that stupid commercial 30 years ago? You work it all up and fry it in a pan and do it all this and blah, blah, do everything.
I am old enough to remember that. I am
old
enough.
These moms are like, what do you mean do everything? You're like, no, take care of yourself first. Put yourself where you say, my workouts are important. I'm going first. I'm skipping Tommy's 32 baseball games this year or whatever. I'm going to do some things for myself. I'm taking more time for me. And you go, why? I'm taking more time for me because I love Tommy so much.
Right. Right.
And I don't care that the other parents are worried that I only made 31 of his 47 baseball games. But that's the society we're in now, right? I mean,
hey, and I love this concept that came to me as well. Like you were talking about how your moms are so beautiful, they just don't know it. That client, I mean, every single client that walks in, right? Like they sit in that chair and we have the ability to actually look inside and see who they are. We have the ability to see their potential. And I've had to go through a maturation, so to speak, where I don't just like start becoming a raving lunatic about how great we can help them be and all the things that they can. I got to start slow, like you said. We got to start with one thing after another. But you can see it, right? And then you get that in body. You look in there and you're like, holy crap, 60 pounds of muscle on a woman, 100 pounds of muscle on a guy. I had a guy come in as a client who had already been an ideal protein client at a different clinic. And I looked at his in-body and I said, oh my God, 104 pounds of muscle. Dude, your metabolism is through the roof. Awesome. And he looked at me and he was shocked. He said, what do you mean? I've got the slowest metabolism in the world. I was like, oh my God, no, man, right? You've got a V10 engine in there and we're going to go.
That's his self-talk. That's his identity, right? No. That's the language he's using tells me his identity. And in the end, language is king. I mean, if we could just get clients to change that, language is absolutely everything. And your client comes in, they had a good week. They can alphabetically tell you the 2 things they did wrong, when they did it and what they did wrong. But they've done 30 things right for the week. But all they can do is say, well, Wednesday night I screwed up. You go, okay, big deal.
Right.
Well, you've done all these things right for the week, but they're so focused on what they did wrong because they're not perfect and they're not enough. And then we're back to perfection. That's a whole nother thing. And you're going, oh my God. And that's what's killing us. And then we got to redirect their focus to say, hey, drop that and whatever. Yeah, Wednesday night wasn't perfect. One meal, big deal. We're not allowed to, clients in my diet center are not allowed to use the word cheat meal because unhealthy eating in our life, our belief is that unhealthy eating has to be part of a healthy lifestyle. There is no such thing in the world as a cheat meal. I have pizza. I do my things. I drink with my kids and blah, blah, blah. None of that's cheating. Why? Right. Because unhealthy eating has to be part of a healthy lifestyle. Cheating to me makes me sound like I did something wrong. I got caught cheating. I'm going to get thrown out of school. There's something wrong. I did a cheat meal. It's not a cheat meal. I'm not doing shame. I'm not telling myself I'm not enough. I'm having unhealthy food once in a while because that's part of my lifestyle and I'm still a rock star. Let it go. And you're like, fine.
Yeah. You know what? We would be silly if we thought that we would be silly if we thought that a healthy relationship with food didn't include something unhealthy every once in a while. Right. You know, and like you said, I'll do pizza. It's just ain't going to be Domino's. That's for sure. It's going to be the best freaking Mama Lucia's in Chicago when I go visit or what have you. I mean, right.
Love it.
But it's part of it. It's absolutely part of it.
Yeah. And when I have it, no shame, no guilt, no name calling, no sitting in my bed at night. Why'd I do that? There's something wrong with me. We're not going back to there's nothing wrong with me. I've got my flaws and insecurities and whatever. But in the end, I'm a killer human being and I'm going to learn to put myself first because I love my kids and my family so much.
All right, let's bring this one in for a landing. I love this quote. You brought it up and you know, we keep talking about gaining a lifestyle and building a lifestyle. I actually love the way that this comes from quite the opposite, right? It's about losing the lifestyle and losing the mindset that got you there.
It is a healthy life It's not just about losing the weight. It's about losing the lifestyle and the mindset that got you there. Steve Marabelli's got a ton of great quotes, but that is absolutely positively one of them because, again, weight loss programs from point A to point B, most people temporarily suspend their beliefs and their identity. And that doesn't get me to lose the mindset and lifestyle, the negative self-talk, the self-deprecation, the not being able to put myself first, the inability to say no. That doesn't fix those things. So that part of that stuff is on me. If I can get that and tear some of those things down, you go, okay, I'm ready to change. Then the whole thing changes and you go, keeping the weight off becomes fairly easy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You're a great example, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. Again, I am fallible. I am human, but I can only coach from my infallibility, right? I can only coach from my own experience, and truly, it's only mistakes. It's only if I don't learn from it, and if I can't coach from it, right?
Yeah.
All right, sir. You know what? I got to thank you so much for everything. I got to thank you for doing the show today, for sharing all this stuff with all the people. You are the most watched, most listened to show that I've ever produced. Episode 5, episode 21, and now episode 43. Literally,
I love being the cancel refill guy. When I get a cancel, I'm going to call you because you can just talk and talk and talk. I go, okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. Well, no. And I sent you, you know what? And I sent you that Facebook, somebody had messaged me and said, hey, when are you going to have Ed Reardon on again? You know, I really love those shows and I really need to hear from him. And it was just a combination of things. I'm like, you know what? Holy crap. Ed and I could throw this thing together at the drop of a hat. It doesn't need to be, you know,
almost nobody wants to do it, but your heart's in such a good place and you want to help people so bad that you're a very tough person to say no to. I have no problem. I have no problem saying no to other people.
Well, and you didn't have a house full of your daughter's friends to entertain and to drive back and forth to the beach this time.
That's right. You're lucky.
You literally were pissed at me. Oh my God. What do you mean? We got to do it now. You're dragging me off the beach. What are you kidding me? I'm like, oh shit. Ed's really mad at me. Oh my God. You were just messing with me.
Lifestyle, people, it matters.
Yes.
Put yourself first this week. Try to do something about it. Work on those things. Take a look and question your identity and awareness of how your lifestyle is affecting every single thing from the emotions in your gut, traveling up the vagus nerve, to how it's affecting your family, your marriage, your job, and your overall happiness. When you start to look at it through that lens, use something like Ideal Protein to walk in and change your life, and you'll be just fine.
That was it. The perfect closing. Thank you, Ed. I will be in touch. I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to suck your brain dry of all the knowledge and coaching information you've got, both scientific as well as motivational and inspirational. So thank you.
You're the best, man.
Thank you for everything you do. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you, Johnny.
Hang in there. Stay right there for me, Ed. I don't want you to go away. Hey, oh my gosh. Was that not amazing or was that not amazing? You're going to listen to that more than once. You're going to have to sometimes slow it down to half speed, and you're going to share it with your friends. So thank you all for coming. And as always, like, subscribe, share the Life Possible podcast. Like I said, I've got 5 or 6 people on the line, and I'm going to try my best to pump as many shows out as I can here in a short period of time. I've got some super cool people coming. I've got some returners. I've got some new people. We're going to pump this show up. We're now getting over 1,000 downloads every 30 days. So that's been quite a milestone. I've been super excited about that, and we need to keep the momentum going. So thank you. And until next time, keep reaching for your own life possible.